Hi guys, this is Sai Kumar Kurtivada. In this video, we will learn about get and post in Next.js. So let me quickly jump into Visual Studio Code and let's see what we can do with this get and post. Before that, we have all the JS files over here. I want to convert a whole application into TS. The only reason is it will be giving a intelligence whenever we are going with the next APIs or next usages or modules, whatever provided by Next. And the second thing is, till now we learned everything about JavaScript, but from here we'll learn TypeScript as well, so that it covers both TypeScript and JavaScript. So let me go and change one file as tsx and let me run this application. When you run this application, it tried to detect the TypeScript file and it immediately created a ts config file. So here ts config file is created and now it is ready for the application. So now let me save this and you can use any of the TypeScript content over here. I can use tsx and hit enter, save. Now I have created two files which are already in JS. So I have converted into TSX. Why I am converting into TSX? I am converting into TypeScript extension. So because it has something like default functions which is exporting and returning you a HTML content. So now let's go about get and post. To work with get and post, first you have to learn few things. First, let me quit this and I'll create some files. So now I'll create a folder called as API, and inside this API let me create a folder called as users, and inside this user let me create two files. One is route.ts. This is a reserved file, and I will be creating one more file called as user.meta.ts. And now I'll export a constant data which is like users list, and it will be returning you an array. So now I'll give an ID as one and name as Sai and copy the same thing, put it over here with ID as 2 and the name as Kumar. So I have two records of users, and now whenever I hit this users, it has to return that list of users. So how I can do that? I can do that by using export async function. So whatever the functions you are exporting, export it as an async function. I can use a get method. So this method should match one of the HTTP methods, maybe get, put, post, delete, patch. All these methods can be acceptable over here, and that should be in capital letter. So then only it will understand this is a get request. So I have created route.ts. And now let me remove these params. I don't want to use these params. So now let me return a new response, and the response is by the users. Whatever the user data I want to respond from that. So what I can do, I can use JSON dot stringify of I want to return my users. So users, hit enter. That's it. I am ready to get this particular response. So let me run this again. Now your application is ready and no errors. Let me go here and you have something like localhost. So I have already shown this in my previous video how to use a postman. So we are using postman and I have created an XJS application. Inside that, my first request is users request with get API. You have get, put, post, patch, option, head, all this you have, but mostly we will use only the top five one. So we'll be using a get operation and it is followed by a folder structure. So you have an app, inside the app you have API, so that's why I'm using an API, and inside that you have a users folder, and that users folder is returning you a get method. So that's why we are using a get call. So let me hit this and you got the response, and the response you got is in a text format. So you are not seeing the proper content in a JSON format. JSON format means something like this, but the text format whatever you are getting is in this way. But I don't want to export that as a text format. Then what you can do is you can pass some set of options. So what are my options is I can set my headers, and you can give something like content type as application JSON. You can give application slash JSON. So whenever you pass this response headers, it automatically picks this content type. By default, the content type is text. Now it is JSON. Let me go here and hit it again. Now you got the direct response in a JSON format. So whenever you want to get a proper JSON format, then you can set this headers. And what is the output over here? It is 200 status code. That is absolutely fine. And if we want to pass externally some status code, you can pass from here something like 200, and you can override your status text something like successfully fetched, and save this. Now go here, now hit again. So you can see 200 successfully fetched. The 200 is the value which we passed, and successfully fetched is also the one which we passed from the status text. So that is how you can use your get API. And let's try to create our post API. So whenever you want to post some data, you need some data and you have to post into that user's DB. So as of now, we are not using DB. Let me consider this user metadata as a DB. And what we'll do is we'll try to insert the data into that particular user's data or a metadata. So what I'll do is I'll just export one more function, and the function is async, and the function name, you can pass the name as a post. And let me talk about these parameters bit later. Now what I want to do is I want to receive the request. So let me receive the request first. Console dot log off, I want to receive a request. So how can I receive the request from the post? That means whatever we are passing from the postman, how I can get it. Before that, let me create one more request, and the request URL is same, but the request method is different, which is nothing but a post. This is a post request with the users, and I want to pass the body, and the body should be something like, you can pass raw data, form data, anything you want. So I'm going with the raw data, and I'm going with a JSON object. My JSON object is ID, where my ID is 3 because I'm inserting the third one, and I want to get something like a name, and the name is something like Kurtivada. This is my same structure as it is. If you can see here, this is the same structure. Okay. And if you want to save this user's API, you can click on save, and it will ask you for requesting name. So I can make it like users creation, because post is used for creation purpose. So now I create this user creations here, and that will create you in a collection. So my collection can contain a users with get request and users with post request, so that in future if you want to go with this particular request, you can go inside the collection and you can get the next.js collections like this. So all the collections we have, and we are storing in our next.js folder. So like that, you can store any of your responses and requests in your collections. Now what we'll do is whether this is hitting our API or not. Let's see that. So I have created an API with a post request, and what I'll do is I am ready, and save this. Now go here, let me hit this. Then you saw that it is throwing you 500 internal server error because it is not responding anything. But if you see here, no response is written, but you are getting I am ready because I didn't responded anything from here. So that's why it is throwing 500, but it reached this post. So whenever you use the same folder with a post request, it will receive some data. So how can I receive that data? There are two parameters here. One is request, and that is nothing but a next request. So this is the interface which we are getting from next server, and we can also get something called as a response, and that is also nothing but next response. So that is also coming from next server. So let me close this, and now let me save this. Let's try to know what is this request dot body, and this body is a value whatever you are passing, but this body is something like a asynchronous data, so we have to wait until that body is resulting us some data. So result is equal to, so let me put that result over here and save this. Now you are using a body. Let's see what is this body whether it is a method. No, it is a direct property where you will be getting all the data in a stream wise. So you will be getting a streamed data. So let me hit this again. Again, we got the 500. That's okay. Now let me go up, and you can see compiled, and you got I am ready readable stream. So you got a readable stream with this support BYOB true. That means you are getting a streamed data. I don't want to get the streamed data. What I can do is I can use JSON and save this. Now you will be getting a JSON object. So let me return some data for now. Return new and response. Let me return JSON dot stringify of. I want to return something like hi and save this. Now let me hit this. Now you will be getting that response. That's okay. And you can see that data here. Whenever you use JSON, you will be getting a response in a promise format. That's why we are awaiting for this. And once you get the result, you can utilize that result. Now what we want to do this result I want to push into our code. So how I can do that? So I can do that by using users dot push of my whole result I am pushing into this. Now I want to respond whatever I have pushed. So now we got this particular data in a result format. So once this is pushed properly, you can tell that this is successfully completed. So what I'll do is I'll just use JSON dot stringify of I want to pass the result whatever he passed, and I want to set the headers as content type as application slash JSON, and I want to give a status. Normally, whenever we want to send the status code with a post request, we'll use 201, and let me give status text as created successfully and save this. Now we have created our post data. Then we will see how it works. Let me go here. If you see our metadata, we have only two IDs. So let me go to the get request first, get the data. You have only two. Let me go into the post. Let me hit this. Now the data has been created successfully, and you are getting a 201 status code. Let me go into the get part and hit this. Now you can see you got all whatever you have created till now, you got the data. This will be working as expected until you rerun the application, because this users is a dummy data which we have created. We don't have a database. So that's why you are able to see this. Now the case is, if I want to update the data, or if I want to get only specific data, how we can do that? That one we will do in our upcoming video. So we will do the patching part, we'll do the put and also delete part, and also we can get the data by using its ID. So if I pass the ID, I'll be getting all the objects whatever we have for that users. That we'll see in the upcoming videos. Hope you like my explanation. If you like my video, like, share, subscribe to my channel for more updates. Signing off. Thank you.